Yeah, like, while preparing for this episode, while researching about you, something which I discovered is you also make games. I'm,
Yeah.
yeah, it was super fascinating. So I definitely probably want to understand more about, the video game which you built and how you built it and what was all the
Okay.
things which happened in the background.
Okay. So, I mean, I am very much interested in video games as in general. I mean, from my childhood only. If you remember, we used to have those Atari consoles, right, which
Yeah.
plugged into TV sets and you could play video games. So I bought my parents bought that in first standard, and I used to play a lot of games on that. And after that, we had all those computer games, right? The initial computer games like GTA Vice City and all these
Mm.
Road Rash, etc. Right? And yeah, so in college as well, I found a lot of people who were interested in games. So we used to play a lot of games like multiplayer games like FIFA and all these. Uh, I mean, games like shooting games or anything. So there is a friend of mine who is also interested in game programming. So we thought in our final year, why not we just build our own game? I mean, we had a lot of time at spare in our final year. There were very detailed classes and all that. So we had a lot of time. So we thought, why not just start making a game? Okay, and we initially thought that we will build a very grand game, like a 3D open world game and all that. But we realized that it's very difficult and time consuming and requires a lot of resources to do that. I mean, I read that GTA 5 itself took around 1,000 people for 7 years to completely develop. So we thought 3D games will probably consume a lot of time and we may not uh, be able to complete that. So we tried another aspect of game design called 2D games. So 2D games have been in the industry for a very long time, even before the pre-internet era, from the 80s, 70s. These games are there. So people who are building those games have perfected the art of the game design process and how you hook your users and all those things. So I thought this is a very interesting part of user experience as well. Not just, I mean, as product designers, we talk about usability, right? That how usable or functional a product is. And games, on the other hand, employ another thing called engageability. That it doesn't only talk about usability, but how well a game engages your users. Okay, and for example, let's say you have started playing a game and you find it very difficult right from the beginning. So you may feel discouraged and you may end up leaving the game, correct? And let's say there is another game which is very easy to play. So you might feel very bored to play this. Why am I playing this? It's no interesting. So you will also leave that game. So you have to find a balance between the right difficulty and the ease of learning, which engages your users. So that's engageability. So this is pretty fascinating, which I found, and it also employs things from the UX point of view. I mean, a lot of apps also employ game-like things, not gamification. Gamification is a different thing. So game-like things like Facebook employs that it shows you a feed and you get hooked to the next thing you see. Or for example, Tinder, what Tinder does, right? It's basically a game-like app. So games have been using all these concepts. So I thought, why not just try out and make a game. So we started making that in our final year. It's a 2D game platformer, and it's basically a story-based, whatever you say, action, whatever game that you can play. And it's on my website if you want to play. Yeah. So that was the story basically. I was glad that it got built and we finished that and published it publicly. So yeah.
So, curious to know what are the kind of
Hmm.
challenges you faced while designing this game or while learning how to develop a game?
Okay. So one of the challenges was, as I said, complex games took a very can take a very large part of your time and effort. So it's essential to figure out what you can finish. Okay. So if you, let's say, start designing 3D assets, first you'll have to learn about all these 3D tools called maybe Blender or something, and you have to make all these assets. So 2D games was a pretty good way to go about it, because I already was using tools like Illustrator and Figma, which I could use or leverage in this part as
Mhm.
well to generate 2D assets like characters or the world or levels or something. Correct. So this was one part. Another part which was challenging was sound design. Correct. And sound is something which games largely employ to do multiple things like engaging you or give you feedback that something has gone wrong or something. So sound design was a very challenging part because we were not sound designers. We can't produce sounds and all those things. So we had to rely on royalty free music,
Mhm.
and royalty free music is free and you can use it, but there is not a very large set, or if you can say that you cannot unify those royalty free assets into a game. So we had to be very picky about what we were picking up, what sounds we were using for each and every interaction. So suppose you are killing an enemy, so sound of the gun and sound of the death animation and everything had to be very unified, and that was pretty difficult to do actually. Yeah, so that was the challenging part, but it was pretty fun actually, because after we built our game, we used to invite our friends to our rooms to play and try around and give feedback and all that. So that was a pretty fun part they used. And yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun doing that. Yep. And
Interesting.
also, apart from this game, I also tried another game myself. I mean, I didn't code the first game, but I wanted
Mhm.
to do that as well. So it was a pretty small game. I took part in a game jam. If you don't know about game jams are basically hackathons for games.
Mhm.
Okay, you have a team, you can participate and build a game in a week or 3 days or something. So I did that and made a game in a week. That it was a basic Flappy Bird clone. That it was about a planet that used to fly around and collect points and all that. So yeah,
Mhm.
that was that.
So you talked about
Hmm.
gamification and
Yeah,
engageability,
yeah.
right, in games, and how those two things are completely different. So I want to know if you could probably talk a bit more about it.
Okay. No, they are not completely different. I mean, I'm not saying that they are also very much the same. So they
Mhm.
are little overlapping. Gamification is a process that employs things like rewards mechanisms and all those things. For example, if you have tried that Byju's app, right, it gives you points or rewards on each lecture or something you finish. So that's
Okay.
gamification, that you are motivated by the variable reward you get. Okay. And game engageability is something you are completely immersed into that moment. If you've heard of the term called flow, that
Mm-hmm.
flow is something that you don't feel distracted by anything, you are completely immersed into whatever you're doing. So that what games any game's primary motive is to take the gamer or user to a state of flow, that users don't feel distracted or bored or they feel discouraged. That's engageability. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
not a process, it's basically a concept, you can say, or a theory.
Understood. I mean,
Yeah.
super interesting. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Product Stories for more such episodes.